What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. We got Europa League results. We got Champions League results from yesterday. Going to go over some of those games, talk about some of those things, talk about Spurs draw, what the vibe is out there with Spurs fans and Conte. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about Liverpool versus Arsenal coming up this weekend. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, and you can also leave comments onto the video. Shout out to everybody listening on iTunes, Libsyn, Stitcher, Omni Studio, Spotify, or just wherever. Thank you. And we got some of the usual suspects. We got Neil Chakravarty, stand-up comic, Chelsea fan. Hey. What up, Neil?
I am good.
Are you sure? Come on, man. Batshuayi scored today. Yeah.
Oh, really? He did?
Yeah,
he's still a professional footballer?
Yeah, still out there.
I don't even know. Did we eventually, is he off our books? Is he still on loan? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it matters. I didn't think it mattered to you. I just think you still kept an eye on them, like you're like Big Brother.
No. I bet he doesn't know himself. I bet if you just wake him up at like 2 a.m. and ask him to give an answer in 5 seconds, he wouldn't know.
Right. I mean, he's been loaned out so much.
He's been Guantanamo'd by our loan policy.
Yeah, foster care like crazy. And I also like to give a shout out to Lee Hudson, stand-up comic from England, Southampton fan. You just got back from doing some shows, Lee? What time is it?
Yeah. It's 12:39.
Oh boy.
So early.
Yeah.
This is stand-up comedy time, man. You come home, you got 3 hours before you go to sleep. You just gotta stay up.
I don't normally go to bed early anyway, so it's all good. This means I'm not just sitting scrolling Instagram.
Right. So what do you guys want to talk about first? Let's talk about some of the stuff that happened yesterday. Chelsea beat, was it Inter Milan?
AC Milan.
AC Milan, the current Italian champions. There was also a lot of, not irony, but there was a lot of ex-Chelsea players, Tomori, Giroud, who else was there that was making it weird?
Well, Bakayoko is somewhere in the vicinity. He's hanging around AC Milan. Apparently, there's a deal in our loan with on Bakayoko with AC Milan where if he plays one more league game, there's an obligation to buy him for 12 million. So they're just not playing him anymore because they don't want.
Why don't they just give him back to y'all? How long's the loan period for?
This is the last season of his loan, of his contract. So I think they can just get him for a free or something. I don't know. It's one of those things like, nobody really wants him, but like somebody has to. The fact that we exist in this world means that somebody has to be contact. Somebody has to like take care of him. So he's just one of those, legacy players from a past era that's just floating in outer space.
A piece of Chelsea debris that used to be a part of something, but now it's
debris
just
is a correct way to describe.
How do you feel about your performance?
It was a very good performance. Like the first half was pretty slow, but even then, I felt like from a performance point of view, it was probably the best we played since Spurs in second match week 2. A lot of things that we've been complaining, like last game itself, I think it kind of felt to me that these are 11 players who haven't really trained or played together. Mm-hmm. It was that disjointed, but this game, everything, it looked like people were finding each other. There was a lot of, even though we are not doing a whole lot in the final third, but the talk coming into the game was that AC Milan midfield with Tonali and Benacer and how good they've been for AC Milan last year and a half. And we kind of like dominated that midfield, Loftus-Cheek and Kovacic. they were very strong in that part of the pitch, and pretty much made sure that nothing ever came to the forward line. Again, Rafael Leao, there was a lot of talk about him being that real striking force for AC Milan, but I think apart from a few moments, he was locked down pretty well too. So everything came together really well, and then in the second half the goals started coming. That was really good to see, because we've seen that piece, that movement between Reece James and the right midfielder a lot of times, and then the overlap works out. Reece James puts in the cross, and then someone fluffs it. Mm-hmm. But this time there was Aubameyang here, and a natural striker. He knows where the goal is, and he absolutely made sure there's no mistake. And the third goal again. I mean, Reece James, I got it. Like, I think
did it hurt you that Aubameyang's goal? Yeah, was an indictment on Tomori.
I mean, he has to learn. Like, good thing is I can cheer on Tomori from afar. Like, his mistakes aren't really my problem anymore. So even though I feel like he's a really top quality defender, but yeah, it was very bad technique with what he tried to do, like going in with his. He should go in with his left leg and make sure there's no mistakes, right? But it's funny. He's only played twice in his career against Chelsea. First time was on loan at Derby. He played us in the League Cup quarterfinal or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he scored an own goal that game too. So it's not been Stamford Bridge as an opposing player has not been a happy hunting ground for Tomori. So that Aubameyang goal was really good. And that third goal, I mean, Reece James, the level he's been playing this season, he's, I think among the young players we have, he's the first one who's genuinely staking a claim to be at a world-class level. I think he goes right now into any team in the world and makes them better.
Ooh.
And I kind of feel like
big talk.
Well, I'm ready to go a little further forward too. This might be a little early, but in my mind, he's the most complete footballer I've seen since Yaya Toure. Like,
Pep would disagree with you on that. Especially when we talk about Yaya Toure.
Yeah, he would disagree on Yaya Toure, definitely. Yeah. But in terms of, like, when you look at a complete footballer, right, it's very difficult in football, the way the sport is, for somebody to be, you can be a complete striker, you can be a complete defender, but to be a complete footballer, where you can do pretty much every facet of the game well. Like, he can defend well, he can link up play well, he can pass well, both short passing and long balls. He can dribble. He has the pace. He has the physicality. He strikes the ball like a center forward. There's generally, like, there's not many aspects of his game you look at. You can pretty much put him anywhere on the pitch and he'll do a good job.
Right.
All
right.
So yeah, I'm really happy with where he's going. Hopefully this season, unlike the past 2 seasons, he doesn't have that spell in between where he's injured and that causes a lot of mayhem. So yeah, I'm all up on the Reece James gravy train.
I mean, you're selling him to me a little bit, but it's not just in this conversation. It's in other conversations we've had, and I've seen him do good. So I'm not going to argue about any of those points. The reason why I did like this game, because it was tough to figure out what game should I watch at that time, because there was so many games. But then there were some things about this game that drew me to it. The Chelsea part, the AC Milan part, the Serginho Dest playing right back, for AC Milan. He's an American and he played for Barcelona. So I want to see how he was going to do. How was Giroud going to react against Chelsea? He won Champions League with Chelsea, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And, he never fully got, like, he was written off because of who they brought in at the time, and they just wanted to test these younger players. So I felt like he never got like a full thing.
Yeah, he's always like a backup guy. Like, even when he came in, he was
Yeah.
He came in when he had Morata, and then we had Higuain, and we had a whole bunch of strikers. Like Tammy was obviously there. Then there was Werner. Then, yeah, he was never really. But he's probably the best backup striker you can ask for, because he always, when he was called upon, he always did the job.
Milan have got the other best backup striker. They got Origi as well.
Oh yeah,
utility
that is
striker.
true.
Yeah. Super sub striker. So yeah, I wanted to see for that. Also, who else did I want to see? Leao, who he showed some sparks.
That was the perfect audition, because like there's some talk about Chelsea being interested in Rafa Leao. So in a way, like, you don't want him to completely flop either, because then you're like, well, really, is this what the hype is all about? So he did, like, he had his moments, but he didn't really hurt us either. So
And yes, I saw Fofana shut him down at one point, and then Fofana scored, and then Fofana got injured. There was a Thiago Silva. He kept heading the ball on crosses until somebody finally put it in the net. That was Fofana. So it was like 3 crosses in a row. I don't know, they were all corners, but they were all connected from each play to the next.
Very poor defending too. Like, you should know, if you've analyzed Chelsea, that Thiago Silva is the guy you got to stop on headers, on corner kicks.
Especially after the first 2 times he does it, then somebody should at least jump on him for the 3rd time. Yeah. So, Lee, was there any games that caught your eye for the Champions League?
I watched a bit of the Chelsea. I watched a bit of the Chelsea game, just going back to it, and I think people aren't maybe giving it as much credit as it deserves, because that AC Milan team are really strong. They've been blowing teams away in Italy. Obviously, they won the league last year, and Chelsea just made them look ordinary. They kept them at arm's length the whole time, pretty much. It was like watching a bigger kid with his hand on another kid's head, and they're just swinging. Like, they weren't hurting them, and Chelsea they bossed it. It was just really impressive the way they played with the ball. Reece James was a beast, fully deserved the goal and the assist. So that was really interesting to watch. I watched a little bit of the City game, and that was even more unfair. So I didn't stay on that one long. That just looked, that was just a stroll in the park for City, even with a little bit of rotation going on.
At least Pep had the decency to take Haaland off at halftime, instead of like, I'm like, Pep, why are you leaving him out there? Even in the United games, like, why are you leaving him out there? Take the guy off the pitch. Like,
well, no, they play us this weekend. They play us this weekend. I was like, no, leave him out there. Maybe someone will hurt him, or maybe he'll get tired or something. But no, obviously Liverpool did their thing. Trent answering some critics, I guess. Although I'm not sure a free kick against Rangers in the Champions League answers that many of them. But there we go.
Yeah, because
and then
let me just comment on the Rangers thing. Like, the Rangers haven't won anything, right, in the Champions League. So shouldn't Liverpool, even though they won 2-0, have won by way more? The fact that they only won by 2, is this indicative of their bad form more than the fact that they just won a game? Even though they had 23 shots and 10 on target.
Yeah, I think they'll just take the win, especially with how things have been going in the league. They'll just take a win, try and find some confidence from that. Like you said, they created a whole bunch of chances. The finishing maybe let them down, but at least they didn't concede. They kept a clean sheet, which I think is a big thing for them. I don't think Rangers particularly troubled them or tried to trouble them. They were just trying to sit in and be compact. So, they did what they needed to do, I guess, and they'll be hoping that can give them a bit of confidence going into the Arsenal game, because that's huge for them this weekend in terms of, it could be a season-defining game if they can get back on track, or if they lose it. So, no, I think they did what they needed to do in that game.
All right. I watched the Inter versus Barca, and Inter basically did what Spurs was trying to do to Arsenal this weekend. And Inter has this guy who was a goal, so Chanaluglu, something like that. I think I'm close. Chananoglu. And he fired a warning shot at first, like in the first half, and you're like, he does this. This is what he does. And then he showed you when he did score that warning shot was not just a warning shot. It was a warm-up shot to like find a real range, and they just beat Barcelona from the outside. They played low block, they countered, and and they tried to match them where they could, but Barcelona is going to try to play on the front foot and try to create all these opportunities, but they didn't really get that many clear-cut opportunities and shots. And I think this is their second game that they lost in this group. And
they're now third, right? They're in the Europa League places. Barcelona.
Say that again. Let me go to their
I think they're third in their group right now, so they're in the Europa League spots.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. They're third.
Yeah, they're third.
They're in the group of death.
They're in the group of death, so it's gonna be between Inter and Barcelona, and Inter's already won that game. So all Inter need to do now is essentially beat Victoria and hope Barcelona lose to Bayern, which they might.
I mean, so Barca and Bayern play next week, right? Barca and Inter. Yeah. What if Barca beats them?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that could happen, but...
and then Inter still has to play Bayern one more time?
Yeah, they both have to.
They both have to, yeah. Yeah.
I think once you get a win in this game, then you just need a draw from the other game.
Right.
Also, I think they feel hard done by with that call at the end of the game as well.
Yeah, it should have been a penalty, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Couldn't happen to a nicer club. Handball in the last minute in a Champions League game. I'm gonna will that on forever against Barcelona.
Oh. Neil bringing up them grudges.
Yeah, Jesus.
With some long grudges as well. They were talking like mid-2000s there.
2009, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
And you lost that game, or you?
Yeah, it's a disgrace. It's a fucking disgrace game from Didier Drogba. That referee who eventually said, yeah, I probably messed up. Like 10 years later, he comes out in an article saying he messed up.
Hey man, he's got to write his book. All right, he's got to make people want to read his book. I just remember you guys beating Barcelona, and regardless, in a tough situation, the Champions League, and making it to the finals against Bayern.
That was the year we won, 2012.
Yeah, and Drogba was there, and that was glorious. And you beat them with like one man. You played a game without a man down somewhere in between.
That's the semifinals. Like that was John Terry was sent off, and he was. So I think we were on aggregate 2-1 down with 10 men at Camp Nou. And then Ramirez scored, which made sure that we had
right?
2-2, and we were ahead on away goals, and then last minute Fernando Torres scored.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. John Terry was sent off, and that's why in the final he couldn't play, but he came on full kit to lift the cup, lift the trophy.
That is so John Terry. If John Terry is not a narcissist, then I don't know. Let me see who else. So we talked about Inter Bayern, Chelsea Milan.
You gotta talk about Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs. Well, so we got to give Frankfurt some respect. It was 0-0, fine, but what's the deal? What are these Spurs fans saying about Conte after the loss last weekend to Arsenal and not showing anything, or their plan not working? I say the plan didn't work more than they not showing anything, but they did make a lot of mistakes, and especially as how low can your low block go? That's an issue. Like there's like pull it up a little bit. Like Catholic schoolgirls, their skirts are not as short as how low their low block was. But did Frankfurt win the Europa League?
They did, yeah.
You're not giving them it. Yeah, they did, yeah. But still, Spurs should not. Go ahead.
No, I think I mean, I like to shit on Spurs, but they actually played this game a bit more on the front foot, and surprisingly, it was them not being clinical that let them down. They created some good chances, but they just couldn't. They couldn't find the net, and that's normally a strength of theirs with the players they've got. So they were a bit more positive in this game. They took the game a bit more. Frankfurt were a bit more of the sort of team on the back foot in this one. But Spurs don't look comfortable when a team wants them to have the ball. But no, there's not like huge unrest, I think, in Spurs fans. But the ones I know here, they're starting to question Conte a little bit and just sort of be like, why is he letting the midfield be quite disconnected with just two players? A lot of them want him to play with a number 10, which Kane sort of does at times when he drops in. But yeah, people were just like quite unhappy with the pragmatism in the derby. And I think there's as many Spurs fans with sanity that I know, which rules out some that we know.
This rules out most of the Spurs fans.
Well, no, but the ones I know, they acknowledge that they've not been playing well this season, but they've been getting the results purely based on the fact that they have clinical players who can win games for them. So I think that, there's not many Spurs fans that say they've been playing amazing football this year or that they've been dominating games. They've just been quite smart in certain games and picked teams off when they've had the chances on the counter. But I don't think that's if you want to be a top club, I don't think that's fully sustainable. There's only a handful of managers who can do that. Simeone, maybe at Atletico. Conte's done it in the past, but he's done it with much, much better players.
Right. Let me ask you a question. How would Spurs have to change their formation to play with a 10?
Right now they're 3-4-3.
Right.
So it's a back three, wing backs, two centre midfielders, and a front three, which is normally Kane, flanked by Kulusevski, Richarlison, Son, or whoever. So they'd need to take one of them forwards out, which they might have to do because Kulusevski's injured now. So they could take one of those forwards out and put a number 10 in and just have two up front. Which
Conte's played that, like that 3-5-2. They've played that. I think that's how he won the Serie A with Inter Milan, playing Lautaro Martinez and Lukaku up front.
Yeah,
and he also did that the second season with us. He had Eden Hazard and Morata up front in a 3-5-2. But yeah, he might want to do that.
So go play 3-5-2.
3-5-2.
You say?
Yeah.
And one of the 5 is a 10.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 holders and a 10. I mean, he's not really used Bissouma yet this season. He's given him some minutes here or there, but apparently he's like not happy with him, doesn't think he's up to speed in how he wants to play. And it's like, well, the guy's just come from absolutely killing it at Brighton. So is that him or is that you that's not got him ready for your team quite yet? That's the question to ask on that one. Because he's clearly a very good player. He showed it all last season. It's a bit weird that you would sign someone like that for the money they did and then go, nah, he's not where we need him to be.
I wonder who can play that number 10 though at Spurs. Because
yeah, like I say, Kane will drop in some phases of play to play that role, but he's not a fixed 10. Out of possession, he won't sit and protect the other 2. He'll
Kane
be a forward.
Is their 10 and their 9.
Yeah, he likes to drift, and he'll come in and get the ball there, but he won't actually play there. So I think Bissouma could do it. He's more of an 8, but he could play there. But Højbjerg and Bentancur are both like holding mids.
What about
they can go a little bit box to box, but they're not 10s.
Yeah. I don't think they have a natural 10 now that I'm thinking of it.
Conte's built the squad this way, hasn't he?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, here's their possible 10 if his name is on their possible 10 is Lucas Moura.
I think he's injured at the moment right now as well.
All right. Like he's the
Probably.
closest thing I can think of as a 10.
Probably will have to be Harry Kane. It's crazy as it sounds, and then leave Heung-min Son and Richarlison up front. But I don't see somebody as a natural 10 in that squad.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither.
I don't know if that Brand Gill guy, like what's his, could he perform that role, him or Harry Winks?
Gill could probably do it, but he needs more experience and more playing time.
Yeah, Brand Gill is
gonna...
he's on an apprenticeship, right? Like he's not a serious first teamer.
No, he is, but like just brand new. Like he's probably 21-ish.
Yeah,
or some shit like that. What do you guys think of Dortmund versus Sevilla? Dortmund 4, Sevilla 1, and Jude Bellingham. How much is Jude Bellingham, the new captain of Dortmund in a Champions League game, the youngest English player to ever captain a Champions League team, I think? Like, how much is Jude Bellingham going to be worth now? And he scored. I think he had an assist.
Third game in a row that he scored in the Champions League.
What does he think he is? Haaland?
I think he's the youngest player to score in 3 consecutive Champions League games.
No, he's the second youngest. And they asked him, do you know who's the youngest? He's like, who? He's like, and the answer was Haaland.
Haaland,
like, man, he can't get anything over him.
Oh no, that's it. He's the youngest captain to score in 3 games in a row.
Right.
Okay, that was the stat.
Oh, yeah.
I knew there was a stat somewhere. I read it.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, he's scarily good for someone his age and plays with a maturity that's like well beyond his years. I mean, hence why he's got the armband at a club where he's not, a national from that country as well is pretty impressive.
Right.
I mean, we said it before, after the England game, he just does everything. He's just a superb all-round player. He can do anything you need a centre midfielder to do, really. And just, yeah, I mean, sky's the limit. It'll be interesting to see what move he picks, because I think after this season with Dortmund, he probably won't stay much longer. I think there's a move coming for him in the summer, and that'll be really interesting to see where he ends up. But I think it's going to cost someone, 3-figure millions.
Oh, easy. I think 120 million tops. It's going to be even probably more than that, depending on how desperate the team is. Like, for example, Madrid this season, the way they went all in on Tchouaméni, you can easily add another 20 million on top of that because of Bellingham's ceiling.
Yeah.
And also he's got that personality to where you would think in a couple of years there's some commercial value to somebody like Bellingham. Like, he's got that superstar aura about him.
Yeah, he's got like a Black Keane thing going on with a high level of technical ability.
Yeah.
He'll yell at some people and they'll take it and he'll give instructions. He's about winning, and he has the skill and the legs. But to have a guy that young who's like just hardcore is pretty impressive to be. And then when Birmingham retired his shirt, like and I think they were in a championship, and you're like, come on, Birmingham, you're going a little too far. I think it was Birmingham.
Birmingham.
And now you see him being the captain of Dortmund, and you're like, oh, okay, Birmingham, maybe we didn't know what you knew. And and then the captain thing is going to add price to him too. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to him and how much money it happens to him for, this summer.
What's going to be interesting is his brother, Job. Okay. So he's at Birmingham City too. I think the more Jude Bellingham's stock rises, there's going to be clubs looking at Job too. Like, anybody who misses out on Jude are going to try and get Job too.
Yeah,
he's like coming on through the ranks really fast too.
Yeah, it's like when you buy a horse to stud other horses. Yeah. Like, you could sell the I don't know if you sell the sperm or the the baby horse. He said his father was so and so, his mother was so and so. It's like, oh, this is from the Jude Bellingham stock.
I mean, we did that.
Joe.
We bought the entire Hazard family at one point.
Yeah, and
pretty much like we'd buy anybody.
You weren't wrong to. Like, what's his name is doing well.
Thorgan Hazard, and then we bought Killian too.
He's not done so much.
He's not done so much. But we've done that with a couple of families actually. We obviously nothing has really ever worked out, but
you had the two Chalobahs.
The two Da Silvas, the two.
But there wasn't there three Da Silvas.
Three Da Silvas, yeah, you're right. Then the Musonda family. You've done that with a couple of families. The McEachran.
Which Da Silvas?
This guy is, Joe Da Silva, Josh Da Silva, Cole Da Silva. They're all like, Joe is the guy. Josh is who's gone the farthest? I get a little confused with their names now.
Was Josh the one who was a left back? He ended up in the championship, I think.
Yeah, that's Josh. Yeah, he's at Bristol. I think so.
Josh is Josh is the centre midfielder at Brentford, but he's a different Da Silva. That's a
different guy.
I don't remember none of those guys.
Yeah, because they never did something to be remembered.
Right. Okay.
The high point of his career was he played the UEFA Youth League final and won. Chelsea won that year, and then Jay Da Silva, right?
Jay Da Silva, that's
Jay Da Silva.
He was the left back, wasn't he?
He's the left back, and he's still at Bristol City. And Ian Wright saw that game and said that he's the best left back in the country. So that really, he's a good guy. It's just that he's really short for maybe to make that step up to that next level as a defender. Chelsea
Academy reminds me of this. I used to work for the show called The Chocolate News, and David Allen Greer was the star of the show, and it was like a fake news show. And we used to do these fake editorial pieces, and one was about all these white families that adopted Black kids, but once it went out of style, they had these like teenage Black kids that they just dumped on the side of the road like furniture, and they had no home or no place to go, and that's what Chelsea Academy is like.
No, we find everybody a good home. Look at Fikayo Tomori. we find people a good home.
It's like when Tomori went to AC Milan, you're like, you all want him? Oh yeah, take him. Like at least we can say we found one person a good home, not all of them. It's like, and then it still feels like a guy you guys should have kept.
Yeah, but this is just, since we're talking about this week's games, at one point we had 7 academy players on the pitch. Like there was Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek, Mount, Reece James, Chalobah, and then there's Tomori in the opposition, and Broa, Advando Broa. Yeah. So there was 7 Chelsea academy players.
You haven't. You guys haven't been that bad. Yeah, it's true. That's true. We're gonna swing over to the Europa League. So there's some British teams in the Europa League. Arsenal's won. Manchester United, we played Omonia in Cyprus. We started out strong, but then Malacia made a mistake in the back.
Are they really called Ammonia though? I thought that was like that was a joke or something. Like,
no.
Are they really named after the chemical?
I think it's more. I think it's Omonia.
Omonia
is the.
Omonia. Yeah, Omonia. Yeah, which with my accent comes out ammonia. You know what I mean?
You're not Cypriot, so.
Cypriot.
yeah. Listen, man, I didn't tell them to go name their thing after a cleaning detergent. That's on them. Like, it's like the cleaning detergent is has a more popular history than their actual team does. But their team, they came out fighting. Like a lot of United fans think like these teams are just going to be easy, and especially after we lost to Man City in a kind of embarrassing way. We want to see like this big, huge response. to a team that we've never heard of. But like, yeah, you could do that sometimes to these teams, but a lot of these teams, you know, they've been like working on their style of play. You know, they're you know, just because you never heard of them, that doesn't mean they can't play football. You know, these are the teams you get other players from. You know, and then also not only that, like we're a work in progress, so we're not gonna be like at our best, you know. So, but you know, we won today after going down 1-0. We went up 3-1, and then towards the end they got a goal. Ronaldo had a tough day. He could not put the ball in the back of the net. He had multiple chances. Should have had at least 2, maybe 1 for sure, but he couldn't do it. I do like how the rest of the team tried to help him get him his goal, which it didn't happen. I like that our subs, Martial, who did great when he came up for us, and when we were down by a lot to Man City, came in, he scored 1, and I think he had an assist in another. Martial, I mean, also Rashford came in as a sub, scored 2, and Anthony gave it a go. You know, he tried to beat some people, do some things. I don't think Sancho's game was that good. Malacia's game, I don't think it was that good. We started Casemiro, and he had like 90 touches, 90 passes. So maybe we're getting him ready to play more regularly, you know, but we'll see how it goes between the battle between him and what is his name? Why can't McTominay? There you go. And yeah, I mean, we were on the road, and we won. And Champions League or Europa League, some funny shit could happen. So I'll take the 3 points. I'll take the win. I think we're second in the group, and so what is this thing? If you don't finish first in a group, what happens to you if you finish second?
I think top 2 go through.
Top 2? So the third place team plays,
goes to Conference League.
But doesn't somebody have to play a playoff game against a team that comes down, that gets knocked out of the Champions League? What is that
third place in the Champions League just come into the knockout rounds of the Europa League.
Oh, okay.
They just drop down into the first knockout round.
And then normally the second team, one of the teams that finished second has to play them, or?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. I don't know if it's just an open draw.
Yeah, they were saying something about that, but I feel like we play Omonia again next week, and if we beat them, then we could beat Pleasant, and we could also beat I think it was Real Betis that beat us that time.
Sociedad.
Real Sociedad. So we beat them, we could finish first. Like, and then did anybody else see the United game?
Yeah, I watched the highlights. Omonia came out looking like a fake ass Celtic.
Yeah.
Because they had the old Celtic manager Neil Lennon, and they're playing in like green and white hoops. So you're like Celtic in the sun, basically.
Hilarious.
But no, I thought they looked pretty solid. They had some good players as well. They took that goal really well, though. Your defense, like, to get caught on the counter attack and have nobody holding the team down at the back there was criminal. The way that transpired. So that was a really poor goal to concede. I mean, the guy took the finish well, but really, really, really poor game, poor goal to concede. Sorry, I'm surprised they gave Malacia the start in this one and didn't give Luke Shaw some minutes from the start.
Why?
Just because I think, like, Shaw hasn't played badly when he has played. And Malacia's been starting most games, so just change him out. Although, unless it's Ten Hag just thinking he needs to keep playing him to get him used to, playing for United. So I can see it from that side as well. But obviously, you rotated in certain positions. Ronaldo looked like he had a bit of a frustrating game. Like, he looked so pissed off when he only got the assist for Rashford on that third goal. He sort of turned away like, fuck. Like, someone scored, but I didn't. but I thought Rashford, the first goal he took really well. The way he cut inside and just unleashed that shot. Martial was clinical with his one as well. Really good finish. So you must be excited that these guys are coming back into fitness and form. Like Martial, especially, obviously, he came off the bench in the derby.
Right. I feel like because of how Martial has done the last few years, that everybody, when he doesn't start, nobody thinks, hey, one of our best scorers hasn't started most of the season. So we don't even include that. But he is one of our best scorers. Like whether anybody like what he did, I think he scored in every game that he's played in. I think he did great in the preseason. He scored against Liverpool, I think. And Marcus Rashford did, but he set him up. But he's been instrumental. He didn't play against Arsenal, and we won that game without him. But, like if Martial plays, all right, Martial's going to press, and he's going to be a nuisance. He has a new attitude, and he's getting clinical, and Rashford's getting clinical. And it's good to have him, Anthony, Sancho. I don't think Sancho had a great game today, but, when he does ball, he does ball. So, and then we also have like Ronaldo too. So I just think it's a good, like for at least this season, we're straight on the forward line. You know what I mean? Arsenal today, they handled their business. They played Bodo Glimt. Yeah,
they've been some giant killers recently. They knocked Roma out the Europa Conference, I think, last year. Or not the Europa Conference, the Europa League one year. Sorry, they beat Milan as well. Like they didn't knock Roma out last year because they won the conference, but they've knocked out some big teams or beaten some big teams in Europe.
They gave Spurs some trouble, I think, right, last season.
I'm not sure. They've got some really good results there because their manager was on.
You could give Spurs some trouble.
Their manager was on the shortlist for the Brighton job, and he's also being talked about as a potential candidate if and when we sack Hasenhüttl as well. So he's someone we might see more of. But I mean, Arsenal managed to rotate and was so comfortable in that game. They changed the team up a fair bit, and the guys who came in and Ketcher, obviously, did his thing. So yeah, they obviously had a few guys in there. Martinelli played well. Jesus, when he came off the bench, did really well to set up a goal. Vieira looked good for them as well. He looks exciting. So it looked like a fairly routine job for Arsenal, that one.
I mean, Arteta winds them up. So when he rotates the lineup, everybody, it might be a drop off in quality a little bit, but the energy that the new person comes in with, like, makes up for it. Like, like today they had so many people. Like, I just clicked the lineup and then it didn't come up. No, it's hard because it's already here. Like Holden did his thing. You know what I'm saying? Vieira did his thing, and Ketia, did his thing. Just people. Marquinhos, I didn't even know what a Marquinhos was. I said, Arsenal got a Marquinhos? Apparently they do. Tierney's always going to give his all as long as he's not injured and playing. Tamayasu. So, they got to like rest people for Liverpool and then still put those people in later on at the end of the game to give them some type of a leg in thing and stretch so that they can not go completely cold.
Yeah, they put Saka in, they put Jesus in. Game.
Yeah, they put their captain in. Xhaka started as the captain. The funny thing about Xhaka, like on the weekend, like I think Odegaard was on the field, but Xhaka did some captain shit, especially after Arsenal scored their first goal. He called everybody into like a huddle, and I gave a speech after the goal to let them know we're not going to ease up on Spurs. This goal changes nothing. Let's go back to exactly how we got that goal and stay on top of them. And I'm like, dude, you don't have the armband, but all right, they're listening to you, so it's fine.
He played well tonight as well. He could have almost scored a couple of times tonight, but didn't quite have the finish. The keeper pulled off a good save on one of them.
Yeah. let's go to just, I don't know if anybody has anything else to say about Europa League, but we could just talk a little bit about the Premier League, and then we could just be out. So coming up, Chelsea, does Wolves have their new coach yet? Because you're playing them, Neil.
It's not confirmed yet, I don't think.
Wow, wonderful.
How long does it take from Lopetegui to get from the game that he lost today to Wolverhampton? Is there a direct train? Like,
I'm just checking their Twitter. There's nothing.
Is
There's
it
no news on there. But I mean, he was obviously.
Lopetegui must have worked with Diego Costa at Spain, right? When he was briefly the Spain manager, but was he like the Spain manager for a very short period?
He didn't even go into the tournament with them. He got fired before the tournament because the announcement was made right before the tournament that he was going to be Real Madrid coach, which I don't even understand what the problem is. But I don't know how much he did to get them into that tournament. Like, because Luis Enrique, I guess, was coach, and then his daughter got sick and passed, and then I don't know if it was went straight to Lopetegui or somebody before Lopetegui. It was just a weird set of circumstances, you know.
Thing is, all you need to know about him going to Wolves is that Lopetegui's agent is one guess.
Portuguese?
George Mendes.
George Mendes.
Yeah.
So what you're saying?
So I'm saying that Wolves won't hire anyone who ain't a George Mendes client. That's how it works.
Oh boy.
So now that you say that, right? What if transfer window and Wolves? Now Wolves couldn't get Ronaldo, right?
I mean, they could. Because Ronaldo's options aren't going to be any better than Wolves. Like, it's not like he's gonna. Wolves are like, we're talking about a lower half Premier League team, right? His options aren't really top half Premier League teams. And of course, it'll depend on who can pay a decent enough salary, which I would imagine.
I still wanted him to go to Sporting. I think that would have been more fun. But
yeah,
he could always still end up at Sporting, but just not right now, not off this salary.
I'm just looking at the list of clients for George Mendes. So this was the group of managers that Wolves could have hired. Obviously, Mourinho is the top client. They're never going to get him. Bruno Lage was the guy they fired. Sergio Conceição, who's Porto manager. Gattuso, who's Valencia manager. Nuno, who they've had. Rui Freire, the old Chelsea coach, when Mourinho was there. Yeah. There's Hugo Vicente, who I think's in Sweden. There's an assistant manager, Capucho, who's I think the Porto B team manager, maybe. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of guys, but Lopetegui was probably the top one on there for that job. They're lucky Gattuso wasn't out of work, otherwise it probably would have been him.
Right.
I mean, Lisbon is not a bad shot for Ronaldo because they are actually top of their league of their group in the Champions League. So good chance they're going to qualify, and if they do, then get Ronaldo for the knockouts. You know.
So you mean in January?
Yeah, in January. Yeah.
I think it'd be a nice move for him just to take his career full circle. But I mean, I don't know if they've got the finances to do it or the want to do it if they're doing so well without him. Obviously, having him come into your club, throws the balance maybe.
Well, United is teaching him to be humble. So he'll have experience of being humbled. So that should prepare him to deal with a position at Sporting Lisbon. Like, I feel like the more he hangs around United, it might get toxic. But today it felt like everybody was on board with him and trying to get him a goal, and they probably wouldn't be trying that hard unless they were all getting along, and unless he gets it. So I do like that about today, you know, and everybody's trying to like include him. So I don't feel like there's the animosity that I'm worried about that will be happening over there is happening. So I'm glad about that today. I'm just noticing by this Premier League schedule, what are the odds of Tottenham beating Brighton this weekend? That's not no give me, and it's at Brighton.
I think there's going to be goals in that game because Roberto De Zerbi, the new Brighton manager, he doesn't play defensively. He'll go at any single team who try and play them. So it's going to be you saw the 3-3 v Liverpool. They're like, no, we're going to come at you. So I think Conte will revert to type. He'll be like, okay, we'll try and soak that up and then try and counter on you. And I think Spurs will probably catch them a couple of times. I think Brighton will probably score a couple of goals. My prediction for that game is a 2-2. I think it's going to be full of goals, but Brighton could easily beat them.
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping Brighton beats them. That's what I want.
I wouldn't be sad to see it.
Yeah. I'm trying to see West Ham versus Fulham. That's a London derby, but.
Oh, I just realized for the Chelsea game, that's going to be Diego Costa coming back to the bridge.
Oh shit! Yeah.
That's going to be fun. We never really got a chance to say goodbye to him, and I think there was some bad blood with the coach at that time, but generally among Chelsea fans, a very high opinion of him. Won us 2 Premier Leagues in 3 years. So yeah, I think he'll get a good reception. It seems to be that kind of week, like Tomori and Giroud coming back, and now
how was the reception for Tomori and Giroud?
Well, I think Tomori got a big cheer at the end of the game, but it was kind of like weird, right? Like, it's not like a player coming on where you can you get that one moment where you can cheer him up.
Right.
But there was a lot of shots of the Chelsea players going and hugging Tomori. That was a nice moment. But yeah, I didn't see much on Giroud though.
Do you think Chelsea's going to show? So you think Chelsea will definitely show Diego Costa some love this weekend?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like he was a huge fan favorite. Like somehow the dude doesn't speak a word of English, but completely bought into the club.
He speaks English. He put the ball in the back of the net. He put the English on the ball in the back of the net. That's all the English he needs to speak.
Yeah, apparently in the first meeting he had, he got hold of Mikel or somebody else, or maybe Willian, and then approached John Terry and Gary Cahill and said, Captain, I go to war, you come with me. And that was day one of preseason training. So yeah,
I like that.
He's the sort of person, like when he's doing those, when he's playing like he did for Chelsea and he's on your team, you love him. Like opposition fans hated him, but I mean, you love a guy like that on your team who's willing to, fight like his life depends on it in every game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to ask you guys this one more time. Well, there's two. What do you think about Brentford Newcastle? Tough game, two tough opponents.
I think Newcastle win that at home.
All right.
Brentford's been really good though defensively.
If St. Maximum is playing, I'd give it to Newcastle. Even though they're getting goals, even though they got Wilcox back. Isaac, I don't know if Isaac's still injured. Just as long as they have some type of scoring threat. What's his name is starting to put the ball in the back of the net. Almiron, which is something. It just took him 4 years, but if he could do that on a consistent basis, because
I think Newcastle win that one by 1 goal.
Yeah. Right. And then I'm giving you guys one more last chance. Arsenal versus Liverpool. We talked about it on Monday. What you think now? Everybody has to pick now. Who
I
you
go
got,
Liverpool.
Neil?
I go Liverpool.
I'm sticking with draw. I think I said it will be 1-1 or something, or 2-2. I'm sticking with that.
I actually feel like Liverpool is very close to getting back to where they are, because I mean I still have them in my top four. I don't have Chelsea, so it yeah, I feel a turnaround in terms of results is on the corner for Liverpool.
Yeah, it depends on the day, like who they have available, because a lot of the problems with Liverpool is injuries, and it's because it's a weird set of injuries, because it's not like their main forward line. It's a group of players that are unsung, that don't get hyped a lot, that are injured, and then so when they're being replaced, it's just not as loud as if Haaland is injured, or if somebody like, even when De Bruyne is injured from Man City, there's just somebody to replace him. Like Liverpool, it's those guys or shit.
Especially in
they
midfield, especially in midfield.
And it's their midfield. Their midfield is so unsung that only when it gets to this critical point of like injuries do you like, and it's so unsung that even when they're injured, you still can't pinpoint the problem. But it's right there. It's those guys.
But they actually, against Rangers, I think for the first time in probably how many seasons, Klopp actually changed the system. He's not doing a 4-3-3 anymore. He did a 4-2-3-1. So that is probably a big change. Like if they're that kind of solves the problem, because now the third midfielder doesn't have to be a central midfielder from their central midfielder ranks. It could be that forward, and they have their forwards are fit. So that probably solves some of their problems. They still will have that problem on the right hand side if nobody's covering for Trent. What do they do? What sort of form Van Dijk and Matip are in? They've had some problems in the recent past, but they still have Alisson, who's he's having a great season. So
how does a 4-2-3-1 solve their problem? I'm just looking at it right now.
So basically what they're doing, I think in the last game, what they did was, instead of having to use, so because if you look at the way that we use their 4-3-3, and those three midfielders, they probably have 8 or 10 midfielders in their books, and only 2 of them are good, like Thiago and Fabinho. But so instead of using 3 midfielders, they're actually now using 2, and that number 10 is essentially a forward who is stepping back to play number 10. I think it was Jota in the last game, but they can easily use Firmino there.
Yeah,
they can easily use Firmino there. They can even use Salah there if they're willing to use Jota and Diaz on the wings.
Salah.
I mean, they can, because Salah loves playing centrally too. Like, he's not the Eden Hazard style of winger who'll hug the touchline a lot.
I would say you could play 4-3-3 and just use Firmino as one of your central midfielders, or just as one of your midfielders, period, because you have the players to play in his position, like Jota or Nunez, and Firmino is very defensive minded anyway, so he could probably just help him out. But I just wanted to kind of understand this a little bit more when I'm looking at it in front of my face.
Quite often in that game as well, Henderson would drop into the back line when Trent went forward to add like an extra bit of cover in there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so let me ask you, I did ask this question earlier, but I kind of said it. So do you think this game in the Champions League, was it Rangers or was it Liverpool? Or was it Liverpool just playing Rangers? So should Liverpool have scored more if they really turned the corner? Should they have,
They should have scored more, but I don't think it really matters how many actual goals they get on the books, because you know that team can score goals. I think their problems were more about whether are they creating enough. Are they creating enough? Is their current system creating enough? Are they, being as resolute at the back? Which they're having problems there. So if they found a way to get through that, the goals will come. I mean, there's just too much good quality in that front line for the goals just to not come at any point.
All right.
But definitely Arsenal is going to be a completely different sort of challenge from Rangers. I don't think Rangers had the kind of level of players to hurt Liverpool. Trent's going to have to face up to a very informed Martinelli. So, yeah.
Trent's going to have to fight for his World Cup spot against his opposite, against, like the guy on the other side of the pitch in the blue uniform. I mean, no, he's not. For some reason, I thought Reece James, but that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Reece James doesn't play for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Never make that mistake.
I mean, you never know.
6-year contract, we just signed it. but just speaking on Trent and his World Cup spot, do you guys see like Kyle Walker? He's got an abdominal injury, and Pep was kind of skeptical about his World Cup. It's probably going to be an injury that's going to go past the World Cup. So that might be a good opening for Trent.
I think that closes the door on Trent, because I was thinking
Trippier?
If you have Kyle Walker in the back three, then you could play Trent, because Kyle Walker will cover for Trent. He's got the speed to do it, and you don't have to worry as much about Trent going forward and Trent not coming back. So maybe now they'll probably say we want to be safe.
No, I mean, I don't think his starting spot, he's going to get a starting spot right away anyway. I think we're talking about a squad position. So,
yeah.
I think with one guy going out and then Trippier maybe, I never understood why you need to take Reece James, Kyle Walker, and Trippier out of pick 10
because they're defenders
instead of Trippier. No, but I mean, you're anyways getting that with Kyle Walker. You want as the third guy.
You're talking logical. Southgate just any good defender, I'll bring him. He's a defender.
And then he won't actually.
I know, but I got 9 defenders.
And then he'll pick Harry Maguire. So
Southgate, you only got 9. Yeah, but I got 9 defenders.
Yeah,
I think he's always looking for versatility as well, though. Like Trippier can play left or right. Reece James could also play right of a 3. If they needed him to, and Trent can play, could play centre midfield, I think, if they need him to as well as right wing back or right back. So I think they all have a claim. It'll be interesting to see what he goes for. But I think they made the squads bigger for this World Cup.
26 and 25, yeah.
Yeah. So that opens up another space. So it'd be interesting, to see how he does it. But I could see him taking all 3.
All right, we'll see what's up. You guys, anybody got anything they want to throw in or add?
I'm just praying to the football gods that we don't have a rough weekend.
Manchester City.
You won't the weekend after, but this weekend for sure, 100%, you're gonna be a bathtub boat tossed out in a literal ocean. So good luck with that.
A lot of people.
Go ahead.
Go ahead now.
No, go ahead.
I was about to say a lot of people have been praising Bella Kotchap for us this season, and he's a real presence physically as well. But he's going to get put to the fucking test. This will show whether or not.
It's going to be fun to watch your 1-5-5 system.
I'm happy. Like I see now a lot more people are coming on board. The only an injury can stop Erling Haaland board. Like this week, I saw so many. I heard a lot of podcasts. They're just talking about the same thing. Like
so blatant. That's so blatant.
Yeah, And did you see there's also a petition? Some fan started a petition, got like 1 million signatures. That there were two petitions. One was saying ban Erling Haaland from the Premier League because he's a robot, and the other one was ban Erling Haaland from the UK because it's just not fair. So these immigrants coming over, destroying the fabric of UK.
I believe in Brexit. I believe in Brexit now.
He's not an immigrant. He was born here.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's true.
But what is this? I know. But what does his passport say? He plays for.
I think he's got both.
Yeah.
And Neil, you just played. Go ahead.
I think he was born in Leeds or
Leeds,
Manchester.
Leeds.
One of the two.
No, he is born in Leeds.
Yeah, born in Leeds.
Yeah. Somebody said like Roy Keane should have taken the boot to the testicles instead of the ankle.
Of his dad.
Yeah.
Shit. I mean, Haaland put his boots to our testicles this weekend for sure, multiple times. Neil, did you just finish playing soccer? Or
yeah. Yeah. We had a team outing, and there was soccer. I played an hour of volleyball and an hour of soccer, and so.
All right. How was it?
It was good. It was good, like playing. It's been a while since I've played, so yeah.
It looks like you only just stopped sweating.
Yeah. I came back just in time, took a shower, but I guess I'm still sweating. Yeah.
I played with Martin on Monday, and I think I was telling you guys about my knees over toes exercises.
Yeah.
and that guy. So this is how I know it's working. I didn't get injured from doing nothing. Like I didn't get, like I'm walking around. Like normally when I play, I'm just sore all over. And there's an injury that I didn't get, but I have an injury just from, and then now I'm just like, fine. So I'm just going to keep doing these. So I can actually play probably this Monday coming. Like, and that's kind of crazy for me to be able to play. Yeah. So we'll see. So, and Martin scored 2 headers. Like he's
cool.
He's good in the air.
Oh.
We played these big goals, and these guys will cross the ball in. This motherfucker got headed 2 in, and then all of a sudden people started noticing and then picking him up. But yeah, he got 2 headers.
Conte's gonna pick him.
Yeah, but yeah,
I made a header clearance of the goal line.
Oh, word.
Yeah, it's totally. We playing like it was like pickup soccer, right? So I was all over the place playing without a goalie.
I mean, the boys are back. They're playing, and Lee just played last week.
Yeah.
What?
I'm playing again this Sunday. So
what? So we're all right. Let's see how long this continues.
And that's it. I don't know how many. I don't know how many years of football my body's got left. I'm surprised it's still got any left. So I'm just enjoying it.
I wouldn't even put an S on the amount of years my body got left. I'm just, I'm taking this play by play. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym right after this. I'm gonna go to the gym right after this and do these exercises and stretch these spots, work these muscles, and hopefully I can keep doing this. My knee's still fucked up, but I'm still standing somehow.
Well, hopefully you're still playing when I next come out there. I'll come play with you guys.
Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah. Play with a bunch of Irish guys from Clover FC. Or Cloverfield. Cloverfield, so like a restaurant or some shit. And also, I have some shows coming up in Boston at the Laugh Stop or Laugh. So yeah, October 21st and 22nd. So if you're listening, come out there. Any of you guys got anything you guys want to promote before we bounce?
No, just follow the socials, Lee Hudson Comedy. I'm posting on there where I'm at. I'm around London most of this weekend, so yeah, if anyone's listening from the UK, come. It's the nearest place to me, so
just pinky finger England. Just all right. What you got, Neil?
I'm at Saw's Lawyer, and yeah, can't wait for a good weekend of hopefully Chelsea not, just keeping up this good form. I still feel overall, I don't think we are gonna make top 4 this season, but let's keep this good run going.
Let's see what's up. It's a long season, man. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Thank y'all for listening. We love y'all. Be good to each other and take care. We'll see you on Monday, Tuesday morning. All right, y'all. Thanks, guys. One.
Cheers.
All right, quick one. Ready?
Let me just